Hello everybody, Angus here, and welcome back to Outriders demo. We seem to have completed it in its entirety. There isn't really anything more for us to do. We got an outro to the demo, so now it's high time to summarize my thoughts about it. It's decent. Like, it's not mind-blowing, by no means. It's not a mind-blowing game, but it's decent. I think that's what describes it the most. The combat is fairly clunky. That would be my one criticism. Like, sometimes when you're near the cover, you can't re-enter it, so that causes issues. I died multiple times because of that, actually. Can you shoot me, please? No, you cannot. Oh well. Movement is also fairly clunky. I think clunky is the best way to describe this game. It's technically a cover shooter, which might explain why the combat isn't particularly fluid, but I believe even a cover shooter should be a bit better at that. The best comparison to the combat and movement system, I believe, is a comparison with Mass Effect. Mass Effect 1, I think, would be a good comparison of the fluidity, or lack thereof, of combat and movement and gameplay in general in Outriders. So yeah, not the best. Not the best, to say the least. The loot, there hasn't been all that much loot in the game. Oh, right, and another thing I have to mention, now that I'm out here. As you can see, there's absolutely no enemies. None. You can't just go out into the world to fight with some enemies. You need to start a mission, and that mission will have enemies that you will be able to fight with. I came out here thinking that I would be able to have some shooting in the background of this summary, but apparently not. So we're just gonna run around and I'm gonna talk. Loot. Loot is decent. Another another place where the word decent comes to mind. There aren't all that many stats on your weapons, like basically what you would expect. Every weapon seems to be able to have at least one effect. At least the weapons I managed to pick up so far all had 0 or 1 effects. Your armor has just armor and either anomaly power, which are your skills, or firepower. I don't think they can increase anything more. And that's actually a cool system. Abilities on your armor aren't really abilities, as in they're not activatable, but rather they increase, they buff your other abilities. Like my heat wave is buffed by my what? It's buffed by my pants that give me the ability to cast heat wave twice in a row without it going on cooldown. That's kinda nice. So I really like this system about loot. Now it's the demo, so I haven't found anything better than blue. Only greens and blues really. But yeah, that's to be expected of a demo. Looks wise, don't expect to find any of the armor that you see in the trailers to get into demo. That's certainly something that will be available in the full version. As far as loot availability goes, I like the balance of it, I have to say. Because usually it's either store-bought weapons that are the best, or looted weapons that are the best, or crafted weapons that are the best. In here, I found myself um, basically switching every once in a while between store-bought and looted, because sometimes I go to a store and something from there is a direct upgrade to what I have, and sometimes I loot something that's a direct upgrade. So I really like that aspect. It's not like you immediately disassemble everything you loot because it's all trash and you just need money to buy the good loot from the store. And it's not like the stores just sell white items that you won't bother with after the first hour of gameplay. So I believe Outriders strikes a good balance here. And those are, I think, the two most important parts of a looter shooter, right? Looting and shooting. And both looting and shooting are decent. There certainly is a crafting aspect to the game, because we can gather all those resources. Scrap is your basic money. Leather, iron, leather and iron seems to be... Yeah, leather seems to be for crafting armor, and iron for crafting weapons. Titanium seems to be used for upgrading items, and shards are used in crafting to raise specific attributes of equipment. And you gain them when disassembling weapons and armor. So you might actually be inclined to not sell everything, but rather disassemble. I like the balance it strikes. That's one thing I have to say. Let's teleport here. Why not? Oh, there is actually here. I forgot that it's fairly linear. I guess let's go back to camp. Overall, I like the balance that Outriders tends to strike when it comes to looting, when it comes to shooting, so that's cool. When it comes to art style and graphics, I mean, you can see how it looks, judge for yourself. Some people prefer more stylized games, some people prefer more photorealistic. Outriders looks good enough, like you would expect a modern game to look like. Again, there isn't anything groundbreaking, but it's not bad either. So it's, again, it has decent graphics. These sometimes can be pretty, even the lighting, the dust, the particle effects, all of that. It can look really pretty sometimes. Facial animations are good. Again, they're not groundbreaking, but they're serviceable. They're not Andromeda levels bad, but they're not as good as what game had really good facial animations. I don't know, pick a game that had good facial animations, and Outriders, it's not quite that either. They're still a bit exaggerated here and there. So graphically, it's good. Sound design is good. It's decent. None of the soundtrack is memorable. They're your usual action music, dramatic music, adventure music. Nothing groundbreaking. It's all decent enough. Voice acting is actually good. That one I have to give them. Voice acting is good. I have no qualms about that. So if you're into good voice acting, you're gonna find good voice acting in Outriders. What else is there to talk about? Speaking of voice acting, let's talk about characters. They're decent. Like, you have all the gruff post-apocalyptic war veterans and gruff post-apocalyptic war veterans. Nothing horribly groundbreaking, but there aren't any characters that I would actively dislike either. Like, maybe Shira isn't my favorite, because she's, like, edgy and gruff to a fault. But I do not dislike her. So again, characters are decent. Stories. They are decent. they're kinda ruined by how repetitive they can get. Maybe not stories themselves, but the gameplay that accompanies those stories. Because you have a story, oh, go and rescue somebody. So you go through a zone, kill everybody, go to the next zone, kill everybody, and go to the next zone, kill everybody. And now you can rescue the person. You have a mission to grab a MacGuffin. So you go to a zone, kill everybody, go to a zone, kill everybody. Rinse and repeat. Everything is fairly samey. Stories themselves, though, are good. Again, nothing groundbreaking. Don't expect Witcher 3 levels of storytelling. Everything is perfectly linear, there aren't any choices or anything like that. But it's serviceable. This game at least doesn't give you the illusion of choice that, for example, Anthem gave you, where you thought you had a choice, but you didn't really. This game, Outriders, is at least honest, saying, hey, you do this. No, there is no alternate path, there is no alternate choice, you do this. Go through the linear arenas and do the quest step by step as we tell you. So yeah, don't expect any branching story paths or anything like that. That said, I see the potential of maybe further down the line a choice being given to us of which faction to join, whether to remain in this faction or to join the rebels, or whatever they're called. I think they call them insurrectionists or something like that. That's potentially something that might happen. Cutscenes. This game is very cutscene heavy. Like, even talking to a vendor. Oh, no, this time there's no cutscene. Just when I tried to make a point, you turned off the cutscene. Do you still have a cutscene? Yes, you do.
The future means so little. If you come across anything else from old Earth, there's a home for it here.
Yeah, I've heard it. Leave. Cutscenes are everywhere. So it's fairly story-heavy game. It's just the gameplay kinda takes you out of the zone, because you're technically doing some different stuff, but the gameplay is the same. And that's something that has to be said about gameplay. Pretty much every single mission, the structure of every single mission is you go to a zone, you kill every enemy there, you proceed to the next zone, you kill every enemy, you proceed to the next zone, you kill every enemy, and maybe a boss. The number of zones varies between like 2 and 4, maybe 5, but it's all the same. No matter what kind of mission you play, it's the same. You go to a zone, you kill everybody, and within a zone, the gameplay is also fairly samey. Like, you stick to the first cover you see, you pick off every enemy you can see, you proceed to some cover that's a little bit further, and then you kill every enemy that you see, and then you proceed further. And repeat that like 2-3 times, and the zone is clear. Maybe one of those enemies drops a key, so you have to pick up the key to open the next zone. But sometimes there isn't a key, and you just go to the next zone. Rinse, repeat. Boss fights. The boss fights that have been there are a dude with a gun, except it has big health and maybe some ability. Ability that can range from completely inconsequential, like, oh no, the boss charges his ability meter, what's he gonna do? He's gonna teleport 3 meters to the left. Wow, you sure should have interrupted that teleport. Oh boy, what are you gonna do now that he teleported? To abilities that are kinda bullshit, like seeking fiery tornadoes, where the tornadoes are flying after you and you can't dodge here, but you're trying to run from them, you can't hide into cover, and the ads are shooting at you, the tornadoes are chasing you, the boss is casting some other ability, so you stop to cast one of your abilities, but it roots you in place. Let's get out here to maybe show it better, even though there aren't any enemies here. So I'm just gonna be casting abilities into the void. Boss fights can be frustrating. The last boss fight I had, for example, in the previous episode, that should be linked somewhere in the top right corner there, that last boss fight was kind of a bullshit, I have to say. Because that boss was able to cast abilities on me when I was hiding in cover. Right? Not even like in cover, but I was completely out of his line of sight. Like, the boss was there, I was here, and I see a rift appear here, drag me in, and when it drags me in, it teleports me into the middle between enemies. And that was kind of a bullshit mechanic. And the tornadoes that I mentioned, you're running from those tornadoes, trying to dodge from them, but you're getting stuck on cover and you're jumping over cover, and the tornadoes are chasing you, and the boss charges something, so you're trying to cast some interrupt, but that roots you in place. So now the tornadoes are getting to you, and you have absolutely no way of dodging them, and you just die. Same goes for another boss that had some electric storm ability that was fairly similar, except instead of fiery tornadoes, it was electricity. Wow. So yeah, the gameplay, it could use an update or two. It really could. I know that this game isn't live service, so whether or not there gonna be updates, I can't tell. Oh, lore. Feeding the colony. I might read that lore, maybe even record it. I don't know. I'll see. Let me know down in the comments. Do you want me to read all that lore or not? Are you interested in it or not? Let's go back where it's quieter. Right. Regarding the lore itself, we know that stories get kinda... You get kinda pulled out of them because of how repetitive the gameplay is. The lore is... let's just say I would have done it differently, maybe. Because I was kinda hoping the prologue. The prologue was actually great. And I was hoping the entire game would be like the prologue, which is basically you land on a hostile planet, there is some weird shit going on, some anomalies, some alien creatures, and you need to establish a human outpost. Because you're the last hope for humanity, you need to survive. Kinda like the premise of Mass Effect Andromeda. And that was the thing that I loved about Andromeda, and that is the thing I love about the prologue of Outriders. But the problem with Outriders lore and story is that the prologue ends. Oh, my mouth was dry. The prologue ends, and suddenly we're in a war. Humans against humans. And it's no longer about fighting for humanity to establish an outpost on an alien planet. You're no longer facing against alien creatures, you're facing against other humans. You're a dude with a gun whose task is shooting other dudes with guns. And that's kinda meh. Like, you have all this world already established. Everything has been built and brought to ruin while you were out in a time skip. You didn't get to do any of this. You're just... You're just placed here. Cool. You're just placed here and your task is shooting other humans. There are no aliens anymore. Like, we got a taste of like big alien creatures in the last episode, but it was literally just in a cutscene. And I see it as a wasted potential. Really, because I would love to venture out there. Like maybe, what was that game? Inquisition. Dragon Age Inquisition, where you would close the rifts and establish forward camps for the Inquisition. That was great. I loved that. I loved creating new camps and new cities in Andromeda. But here, it's all been done, and it's all been ruined. This place, it won't grow as you progress. At least I can't see it having room to grow as you progress. You're just... You're in this alien planet fighting other humans. How boring is that? You have your shooty Mac shooter on your hip and you pew 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 at other humans that pew 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 at you. So much wasted potential in this. I cannot stress that enough. So much wasted potential. Maybe later on in the full version you actually do something about the anomaly and you maybe spread the human influence further. But somehow I can't see that being the case. Because Outriders, you have to know, it's a finished game. It's not a live service. there won't be any DLC, so there won't be a, I don't know, Beyond, right? Outriders Beyond update that gives you access to some other areas where you can establish outposts and whatnot. There won't be a DLC that adds another city somewhere. There will be none of that. You get what you paid for. And if you paid for a looter shooter that has an end and where you shoot and loot other humans, that's fine. You're gonna get what you paid for. But if you were hoping, just as I was hoping, for it to actually make use of this being an alien planet, I dare say you're gonna be disappointed. Because even this being an alien planet, even even in the prologue, you land your spaceship in the middle of a spruce forest. Like, maybe it was spruce, some sort of a conifer. It was earth. There was like glowing mushroom here and there, but other than that, it was earth. When you play a sci-fi game that has you land on an alien planet, and your first thought is, hey, I remember being in that forest. I think something like that grew behind my house when I was a kid. We would go there to pick mushrooms. There's something wrong with the setting. It has very little of that alien aspect. Like, if you told me that this is, I don't know, there was some catastrophe on Earth, a meteor fell down and released the anomaly, and we're currently in Oklahoma, it would make no difference. Absolutely none. Because you're not seeing any aliens, besides like those giants every now and then. You're just human in a post-apocalyptic setting shooting other humans with sci-fi guns. Well, not even like sci-fi guns. At least not yet. You have an assault rifle that shoots bullets. You have a sniper that shoots bullets. You have a handgun that shoots bullets. There isn't even any... there was one enemy that has like a ghost rifle, but that's about it. Now, I would say that probably as you get better guns, they get more interesting, but in the demo, makes me think, how are those people in the middle of this crisis, struggling to survive, where do they get all the bullets from? Because if it was a universe like Mass Effect, where you have heat generation, right? You release heat from your gun and you can shoot further. I would understand that. But here you actually have bullets. You have crates full of bullets. Where are they coming from? Maybe as the game progresses, all that stuff gets explained somehow. Maybe it's like a copy of Earth or something that some ancient race of aliens created, or maybe the planet itself is alive and simply copied the surface, copied the flora and, well, not fauna, but copied the flora from the minds of humans, because the planet itself was engineered to accommodate any species that comes here. I have no idea. Maybe it does get explained. And I will be lurking I will be waiting for that explanation if it comes. If it doesn't, I'm not sure I'm gonna pick the full version when it comes out, to be honest. Let's talk about skills. You don't get all that many of them, but they're decent. They're all multi-purpose. Besides dealing damage, every single of these skills gives you something else. Like Heat Wave gives enemies burn status, and since I'm a pyromancer, killing burning enemies restores my health. Feed the Flames deals damage, siphons health, and inflicts ash. I have no idea what ash is, since I can't hover over it to see the description of what this status effect does, but cool, it inflicts ash. Thermal Bomb. It interrupts, it inflicts burn, it deals damage, and when you kill the enemy explodes. That's great. That's actually a decent skill. This one, enemies in a radius get interrupted and affected with burn, and receive. Right? Am I reading that right? No, it interrupts enemies in range, and if an enemy is already burning, they receive damage instead. Kinda whatever, honestly. 10 damage isn't much. Can't read the descriptions of the other skills. Class tree. I was expecting something much less. Honestly. I wasn't expecting this tree to be this big. And the upgrades here are actually kinda good. They're actually kinda fun. Now I only got like a single class point. I don't really know how to get other ones. I have a feeling that it might have something to do with the shards, maybe. Because I think I got a couple of points here after I disassembled a weapon. I don't know, it's not really explained anywhere. But right, Pyromancer has a healing mechanic. Every class has a healing mechanic. And I like that. I really like that every class has a healing mechanic. That's actually great. Accolades are just. Can I speak, please? Accolades are just your achievements, but you actually get rewarded for completing those achievements. There we have some basic customizations like your banner. You can change wear and tear, you can change shape, you can change paint, just like that. You can change the sigil, they get unlocked sooner or later. Can I not change the color? Yes, I can. But I can... But I can't select the secondary color. Unless right click? No, I just can't select the secondary. You have some emotes. Salute. High five. Apologize. Use your brain. Yes. Hello. Hello. And you can't preview other ones. There's no microtransactions, so that's great. And there won't be any, because it's not going to be a live service game. And what else can I say? I think that's gonna be it, actually. I don't think I skipped talking about anything. I talked about the lore, about the stories, about the gameplay, characters, graphics, sound. Yeah, I think I did talk about everything, actually. So that's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Let me know if you want more analysis like that. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers.